marvel at my shirt. Okay, bad joke. Okay, let's do this. And my computer's gonna die. Okay. My name is Krishna Farrell, and I am an Asian American. So, I am full Filipino. My mom grew up in a little town called Bangi in the northern province of the Philippines called Ilocos Norte. And my dad grew up in Metro Manila, which is in like central Manila, towards the side a little bit. Dad was a city boy, you know, kind of bad boy. And then my mom grew up in the province, which is a lot of farmland and a lot of farming. And they both immigrated at different times to California, where they just, you know, as anybody wants to immigrate to any other place other than their home country to do, is to have a better life. So they moved into kind of like the same region in the East Bay, California, and you know, they met, and you can actually read their story of how they met in my blog number 2, which is down scroll below. And 2 years after they got married, they had me. Here I am, 19 and some months later. Pretty proud of it. I didn't really take into account that I was Asian American until college, actually, but all throughout like grade school and high school, I didn't really care, nor was I really aware about other ethnicities / other people being different. Like, I just all thought like we were the same. It didn't really click in my mind. And then in middle school, it was furthest from my mind to see people as different ethnicities and races, because I was just more concerned about being popular. And what a waste of time was that, because it wasn't even fun anyway. Wasted 3 years of my life trying to do that, but whatever. I found my niche in high school, which was fabulous. It wasn't of much diversity. I grew up in a town where the majority of the people were white Americans, and I didn't really think twice about it. Race and ethnicity didn't become prevalent in my mind until college. So yeah, I was friends with the majority of my friends were white, just because that's like the makeup of the town. It's very white American. It didn't really cross my mind that they were any different from me, because we were all into the same thing, and you know, all just really happy just to be around each other and just be really good friends. And I still am friends with those group of people today, which is, you know, great, because obviously the color of my skin doesn't matter to them, whereas it matters to, you know, some people. It's perfectly fine, you know, to each his own, really. I didn't encounter a lot of racism until I started dating, really, which is ironic, because you want to find someone who doesn't judge you and stuff like that. The thing I can first think about that was like kind of like judgmental experience for me was like my first boyfriend. And like, we were really young at the time. My first boyfriend, how old was I was like 14, and he was a little older than me, so now that I think back, I thought that, you know, him and his friends would have been more mature, but you can't really expect that from anybody, let alone boy. We were hanging out with his friends one day. His friends were like, oh, so, you know, you're dating an Asian girl. Well, is this true about Asian women that blah 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 blah? And it was pretty much fetishizing Asian women, and I cannot explain how, like, just dirty like the things that they were saying. It was so wrong, and I didn't want to answer it. Like, maybe it's true for some people, but, you know, not for me, and I don't even want to say anything because that's really inappropriate. So it was just, I can't even tell you what they asked. Like, you can go up, like, look up like Asian women fetishes if you want to, because I'm not going to talk about it, because that's just so that was like my first bout of kind of like racist stereotypical remarks towards like my ethnicity, especially being Filipino. I don't know if there's like a more like stereotypical thing about Filipino women, but I don't know. I guess it's not so much about outsiders like strangers on the street that really judge me. I just think they're like, they get taken aback. I guess since you're in San Francisco, you see a lot of diversity everywhere, so it's not really like an issue. But if you were to go somewhere else, it's completely different. So yeah, I don't get a lot of looks right now with the relationship with the guy I'm in right now. But you know, there's always some comments about your relationship that, you know, people just don't think about, that's really rude. And you know, that's part of everyday life. You just have to deal with it. Some people are ignorant and they don't even want to learn, but can't really help that if they don't want to learn. But yeah, so college, here we are, college. Fast forward from all that crap before college, and now I can officially say that I am Asian American, because the classes that I've taken have opened up my mind so much as to what an Asian American is and who is an Asian American and what makes up an Asian American. And I guess what I wanted to say was, from my growth from my freshman year till now, being an Asian American means acknowledging you grew up in the United States. Like, you grew up in the United States, you're American. But also not forgetting your heritage and your culture. If you are first generation, it doesn't matter, like first generation, second generation, whatever, your ancestors, your uncle, maybe your uncle, your grandparents and your great-grandparents came to California or New York or Illinois or Texas or Florida or whatever, from their home country, wherever that may be, like China, Japan, Laos, Cambodia. They came here from there for a better life. And you have to acknowledge that, because that's how you become humble, and that's how you kind of treasure your Asian side from the Asian American, you know? That's what makes you different than being American. Also, I just want to say that there's not one Asian. There's many. And that's something I want to stress, because there have been many times where I've just been called Chinese, because that's all people think of when they think of Asia or Asian American. And you want to break that. I think that's what an Asian American means to me. Acknowledging you're American, but not forgetting the struggles that your family did to bring you and your family here. Can't forget that. Yeah.